of the tutorial to make your cartoon character soap mold. We just exported a DXF of our character. Then we go to Fusion. All right, so this is what we want to make. We want to have a positive character. Then we want to have like a negative of the character that we can use to pour soap in and make our physical soap molds. So we're going to print this with the 3D printer. We're going to print the actual soap mold part of it. We're going to render the soap and put that on our poster. One of the things we want to be aware of when we make this soap mold is that these little details in the negative in the soap mold, they can't be too high. They've got to be like very subtle, because when we pop the soap out, if they're really far up into the soap, when it dries, it'll be impossible to get out. So these little lines and things have to be very, very subtle in the character. All right, so we'll go to a new window. In Fusion, there's a few things we're going to learn that we might not know. We're going to talk about extrusions and the operation. So we have to be aware of what joining bodies are, subtracting from bodies, cutting from bodies. Then we need to learn about the split body tool, which we'll cover in a second. We also have to learn about this select tool. All right, so select tool does funky things. Make sure, we're going to use the select tool a few times. Make sure it's the square. If it's this freeform thing, if it's this paint thing, no good. Make sure it's the square. All right, so to begin, insert DXF. Right, click our face, and we're going to put it on the ground plane. Click the file, and then click our character. Right, I'll take a second. For some reason, my Fusion imports things as inches. Change it to millimeters, because it needs to be, we want to set it to millimeters, because when it exports, and when we use it on the 3D printer, we want to know how big it actually is. So we don't want to change the size, we want to make sure how big it is. All right, so we change the units to millimeters, click OK. All right, now, this shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think. All right, all we're going to do is use the extrude tool and then the split tool. Alrighty, so I'm going to click on extrude. Make sure this thing is a square. Then I'm going to select the entire object. Right, and I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to make it 21 high. Click enter. All right, so actually I'll go over that again real quick. All right, so when we use extrude, if we drag over just part of it, only those little bits will be selected. So when we use extrude, make sure you get the square, and make sure you drag over everything. All right, 21 millimeters high. Click OK. All right, so we've got the basic shape of the soap. What we want to do now is we're going to subtract our details, our lines, and then we're going to add the body back on the bottom. All right, so we're going to go to Sketches. Okay, we're going to click on the arrow next to Sketches and find the original sketch. Turn it back on. So that's the DXF. Then we're going to go to Bodies, and we're going to turn all the bodies off. So we're not going to find the individual body. We're just going to click the eye next to the folder. Right, now, we zoom in. Zoom in, because this can be a little fiddly. Right, zoom in. I'm going to click extrude. Make sure I click the outside. I might not even click all of my little details because I don't know if they're necessary. Might click on that one. See, like that thing, I don't think that will even show up. I don't think this will show up. Whoa. Yeah, so there's a few little of the smaller bodies, of the smaller parts of the sketch I'm not even going to include. All right, and whoops, I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to click, click, click. You don't need to hold shift. All right, one last time. Extrude. Click my details. come down, extrude. All right. I think what I'm doing is clicking the hand instead of just dragging. That's why everything's unselecting. So don't click the little hand, just drag on your trackpad. Alright, final little thing, I'll click on this if it's going to be selected. Alright, turn the bodies back on. Alright, and we want to make it bigger than the original. So this time type 33. Right, and it's going to go through our entire object. So this operation now will be cut. That's what you want. You want it to be red and you want it to subtract. And click OK. Alrighty, so what we've done, we've cut holes all the way through the object. Right, and if you look at our bodies, we now have 26 bodies. We're going to join these again and make them one body. Alright, so I'm going to turn bodies off, click the little house symbol, click the extrude, and now select everything again. Alright, so when I made this the first time, it was 21 high. This time it's going to be just 20. Turn bodies on. Alright, so I turn bodies on and off just so it's because it's easier to select what's there. Alrighty. 20 high, and instead of being cut, you want it to go to join. And then click OK. Alright. So we have all of these. We have this one body. That's cool. That's what this body is. You might have all of these random little bodies. If that's the case, highlight all of the random other bodies and click remove. Not delete, remove. Right, it just gets rid of them and we're left with the one. Alrighty, so that's like our positive soap. Okay, that's our soap. This needs to be subtracted from something else to make our mold. Alright, so we're going to click create a sketch, click the same face that the soap is on. We're going to find the spline tool and we're going to very closely trace around the outside. I think ideally you want about 1 to 2 millimeters difference on the outside of the soap. I just tap, tap, tap. If my lines are wobbly and not perfect, that's okay, because I can come back later on and edit the shape of this spline. All I want to do is try and get as close as possible to begin with. Alrighty, drag, 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 and make sure it becomes connected. Right, so at this point, fantastic. You've got these shapes. Before clicking Finish Sketch, tap Escape on your keyboard, and now you can go in and you can select these little black points that are called anchor points, I think, and you can move these so you can subtly change the spline, and you can get it a little closer. All right, so so this is going to be the mold, right? And you want this to be kind of weak. If you just did a big object around the whole thing, when it's 3D printed, it would take ages. Okay, if you've got all this space around, you could just use a rectangle and just make a shape around it. When it's 3D printed, it would take a long time. And when you want these walls of the mold to kind of be a little weak, a little flexible, so that when we pop the soap out, it comes out a little more easily. All right, so if your spline shape is looking like this, excellent. Click Finish Sketch. Click the house. All right, and we're gonna click our new border around this frog. Extrude, and this time, so the frog is 21 high total. We're gonna go 26. And then we're going to click on, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go 30, just because it's a better number. 30. Right now, that is deleting everything that's there. We don't want it to delete. We don't want to click join, and we don't want to click cut. We want to click new body. Right, and if we're good, we basically got one shape like this. And then we got one shape exactly on top of it. Right, beautiful. Okay, this is our shape that we're going to subtract our mold from. Right, to do that, you click modify, split body. Right, you do not click the bodies in this menu. You come over to your browser. Click on the arrow if you haven't done so already. Body to split is your most recent body, the thing you made. The splitting tool is the first body you made. If it goes red, that's awesome. Click OK. Right, if it works, you will now have 3 bodies. The body on the bottom will be the mold, and you'll have basically 2 copies of the soap. We can right click and remove one. Alrighty. What I might do is click on our new body, move and copy, spin it around 180 degrees. Right, and you've got your positive and your negative soap molds. Right, I will show you how to render this and make it look like soap for our poster. Last thing though, file, save, make sure you save it. We'll come back next video and we'll finish the poster.